I've got so many people that want this replay. So I'm going to talk to you guys, and then I'm also going to talk to like 15 imaginary people as well and welcome everyone in. So I'm so glad you're all here. I just firstly want to say that I'm normally in bed at 7:30. So I deeply appreciate everyone's time. Like I feel like I get it more than anyone, because the evenings are really precious. So my commitment to you guys is this is going to be so worth it for you because your time is really precious. And I just want to like acknowledge a few things at the beginning of this masterclass that I feel are just important because there's like a mix on here of people that know me really well and then people that don't know me at all. There's like very little middle ground on this. And that is that I really appreciate that the whole coaching industry at the moment is a little bit iffy. Like everyone is masterclassed out, everyone is like webinared out, no one wants to be heavily sold to. Like I get it, okay? Everyone's made 15 shit investments in themselves and their business. So I just want to like extra appreciate that you guys are here. And just give you my word as well that like we're gonna do some cool shit. Everyone's going to be in a different place, but I'm going to make sure that you really leave with something powerful. And I am absolutely going to make you an offer at some point, as I think you would probably expect and maybe even hope. But what I really want is I'm genuinely really interested in you getting a lot of value for today. So if I never speak to you again and you never want to work with me and all of that stuff, my intention every time I do anything free from like an integrity place is you're like, I loved that. My God, I gained something from that. And you go and make a difference in someone else's life tomorrow, and you maybe take everything I've said and rinse it and use it with your own clients. Like, don't use my terminology, but other than that, like, we're here for the good life, okay? We're all here on this planet for a short amount of time. So I just want to say that transparently. So that's where we are. I'm going to introduce myself a little bit for those of you that don't know me at all. I'm going to try and tell my story as short as possible today because my story is about 19 hours long, so we're not going to play that game. And I'm gonna kind of crack you open a little bit and then we're gonna workshop. Okay, so that's what to expect. I am gonna do like a mini visualization thing towards more of the end. Um, and I think by that point everyone feels a little bit comfortable. So I love to know that everyone can locate the chat box. So I would just love anyone to put something in the chat box, everyone to put something in there. You can just say hi, you can give your word of the day, your word of the year, your intention for tonight, how you're feeling. You can celebrate a win with us, anything you want, but just so that everyone's like awake and in the building and we're in the hype. Hey! So glad you're here from the US. Feeling grateful today. I'm so glad about this meadow. Hey Abby, hey Ellen, hey Zara, peace and nourishment. Oh, hey Mum, we're so glad you're here. Yes. Hey Claire. Hi. Every time you call me spicy, it just makes me feel even more loved, like your favorite child, and I just love it so much. That's her pet name for me. Appropriate. Here for the vibes. Yes, you fucking are. Oh, thank you so much. Obviously, I'm ready for bed because, like, I'm not playing that game. What have we got here? Spring vibe here to learn. Cool. So I shared a little bit on my stories, but I thought we could just all like defrost with this a little bit. Is first of all, I am like, I do stuff on the fly, okay? I have a loose plan for this, but today just couldn't have been a better test of everything we're going to do. I've called this workshop Regulated Power, as we know. And I have 3 kids on my own, which I'll talk about in a sec, but my youngest actually had me up last night and was off school all day today. My car was in the mechanic, so you know when you just feel like you've not got any legs for the day. Like literally everything today was just like a fucking joke. Like I barely got to promote this. I barely got to plan it. I barely got to get back to everyone. I barely had any time. I was just being mum. And there was every part of me that wanted to be like, I'm not going to do this. Fuck this. Maybe I could do it next week. Maybe I could do it next month. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should do this Monday. And so everything that I'm going to teach you in this is like hardcore evidence of practicing what I'm preaching. And there's going to be a lot of nuances going on. But I really thought that was such a good example of how, you know, everything that we're going to talk about in here, which is your emotions behind your business and your feelings behind your business, and how that is going to literally be the make or breaker of everything for you is the piece that we need to focus on. But my point in all of this and in all of my work is never like mindset is key, okay? Like never. I believe that thoughts, beliefs, and energetics are key. So most people, most of you guys that are on this and that find me have done quite a lot of work on their mindset. Is that fair to say for everyone? Like, where are you? Are you like, yes, I've done mindset work? Yes, yes. No, yes. Lots of yeses. Maybe in between. Okay. So what we're going to do in this is we're going to like skip primary school. Okay? Primary school is like have a strong mindset, believe in yourself, show up when you don't want to, go again. Cool? That's mindset. Second level, whatever we really want to teach it, is like, how do we go from being business owners who are pretty strong, solid women, right? We show up when it's hard, we've done tough shit, we've pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone. How do we go from being someone who stretches ourselves and forces ourselves and shows up and follows the plan, not our mood, actually to someone who does that kind of stuff, but without that feeling inside of like pressure and force and dysregulation? Okay, does everyone feel quite excited for us to go there? Is that somewhere that we can all relate with? Cool. So a little bit about my background. Slightly relevant to this because we're going to talk about emotions. So I was a child carer for my mum, which was a bit of an unusual situation. It was very intense. She had debilitating mental illnesses, and basically my childhood existed around regulating her on a daily basis, sometimes hourly, and suffering quite a lot of abuse within that situation. I would have to like get her on her hands and knees before school on the landing, having panic attacks. She set up some pretty fucked up rituals that I had to go through as a kid. After I'd get off the bus after school, she would drive me to hospital because she'd ruminated in her mind that she was dying and having heart attacks. Like my entire childhood consisted of that, needing to go to mental homes when she'd get sectioned. I remember getting picked up from school and driven to the hospital that she'd been sectioned in by my brother, who's 10 years older than me, because I was the only person that she needed in that situation to sort her out. So, safe to say, I was pretty messed up. I left home in the middle of the night when I was 12. I didn't see my mum again, really, from that point. And I had a lot of trauma to unpick, really, for the next like 15 years or whatever after that point. I wound up as a single mum at 21, thought my life was completely over. Um, and that's when I started my first business. So started my first business and I was like rock bottom. I had all this trauma that I'd just run away from. I had a narcissist of a baby dad who was stalking me, had police shit going down with, didn't support me, had no friends. And I had this like tiny flicker inside my body. And you know, when it's like, I feel like some of you girls will be able to relate with this, but it was almost like every single part of me had been stripped, but there was like potentially maybe a tiny flicker of hope still inside me. And so I started my first business in beauty and I was waxing legs in my living room with the baby asleep. And I quit my part-time job and I basically went all in on makeup. That's the short version. And I blew my makeup business up to 6 figures and was so proud of myself and had an amazing journey through my 20s, really went all in. I really wasn't actually the best makeup artist, to be honest with you. I was pretty good, but I was so determined that just because I'd had a baby so young and was a bit fucked up, that my life wasn't going to go to shit. I was so determined to not be like that single mum stereotype. There was so much fire in me. And I vividly remember in my early 20s, in my flat, when the business was like really early, maybe in its first year or something, I remember making consciously the decision that I would be the price. And I remember being okay with that. I remember thinking like, something's going to have to give here, and I'm happy for it to be me. I'm happy for it to be my sleep, my social life, my sanity, my balance, like anything, something's going to have to give. I can't give my daughter away. Okay, she's here to stay, and I can't give the career away, so I will give myself. And that was a real reflection of how I built that business through blood, sweat, and tears. We will fast forward the rest of my journey, but I've told my story quite a lot online recently. I was very poorly during that time. And we'll fast forward quite a few years. But I then woke up and I had 3 babies on my own. And the partner that I'd then been with for 5 years and I split up. And my kids were super tiny, 9 months, 1 and 6. And lockdown had happened. So my makeup business had been like completely burnt to the ground. And I'd had my babies as well. So that had been really challenging with the business. And it was kind of like from that moment that I think everything that we're going to really do in this and all of my work that's about today really started to formulate. So I rebuilt online. I went into social sales and network marketing. I had an absolute shit ton of European sales records. I just went all in, balls to the wall, like this has to work. And at the same time, I started business coaching. I'd had a couple of people in the area that I was living in be like, how did you build your makeup business? How did you get it from startup to 6 figures? One of them was training in skin. There was someone with an Etsy business. I had people with like various different beauty businesses, massage businesses and stuff. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to start coaching and just wing it. So during that part of my coaching, I was coaching 50% mindset and 50% strategy, because I'd definitely identified a lot of it is like ideal client, time management, yada, yada. And then a lot of it is like, get your shit together, keep going, do hard stuff, show up. Okay. So through that journey and my experience in social sales, which is pretty wild, if anyone's been in network marketing or social sales, it's a very pressurized kind of environment. It's very surface level mindset, and it's very like work harder, glorifies you on how many hours you're doing, very masculine, sending cold DMs. There's a lot of that kind of shit going on. I really started to pick up on different patterns. And one of the first patterns that I noticed from the social sales part, where I was selling but also building teams, is I was fascinated, as I always had been, by human behavior, about how 2 people could have exactly the same opportunity. Like 2 people could be given, you see brands now like Monet, for example, okay, exactly the same opportunity. Here's a business opportunity, here's a product that you can sell, and have completely different outcomes. And it fascinated me because a lot of the stuff that I was seeing it wasn't just to do with how much work the people would put in. It was all in here, but there was something deeper rooted than mindset that I was seeing over and over again. And it really was more like the patterns that that person had and really their self-concept, like who they saw themselves as and how they saw themselves as. And I really feel like that was kind of the part of my journey personally, and I'd be interested if any of you guys can relate with this, where I just saw life and business for the game that it is, like more than ever. Because the people that came in and just decided, I'm just going to succeed in this. I just am the one. I just am the authority in this. Like, I just am the shit. Why not me? I'm going to get up on that stage. I'm going to build a team of 100 people. The people that came in and decided that did it. And it wasn't even because they were particularly special or worked harder, but there were certain people who just could not change that self-concept, who they saw themselves as, and it ran deeper than mindset, because those 2 individuals could both think, I'm going to do this, I'm going to achieve this, I'm going to keep going. You'd see people who would say like, I've done all the work, I've been on all the calls, I've sent all the messages, but they could not get a result. And all of that was based down to the fact that they just did not see themselves as someone successful. And so I was fascinated under this and started looking under the lid more and more at how many sort of different areas, almost like I always refer to it as like, when you're combing knits, anyone got kids, when you're combing knits. And I was like, there's different areas that this covers, right? In someone's identity. Someone's identity has different areas. So it was like maybe their relationship with money and wealth, or maybe their relationship with like being seen and like using their voice. And there was all of these different areas. And I'd noticed people have like be fine in some of them, but have loads of blocks in others. So someone might come in and be like, I'm going to achieve this. And they might feel quite confident being seen. They might be like, I'm actually really good on the phone, or I'm actually quite happy to stand up in front of 100 people. But then one of their core identity blocks would be like, they actually just did not see themselves as someone who was wealthy or someone who was worthy of that kind of success. And so there was lots of different individual areas, their relationship with their body, their relationship with their masculine and feminine energy, and there were these different core areas of their identity. So fast forward a little bit more, and I hit the worst burnout of my life. My absolute favorite part of the story to tell on that, which I apologize if you've heard this 100 times, but it's 2 of my fingernails actually fell off. And I took a year off. And I feel like in that moment, everything changed. It was like the first time that I've ever taken a step back. It was the first time that I've ever silenced everything, like deleted WhatsApp, basically didn't have my phone, had my nails off, had my lashes off, got rid of social media. And I'd really realized that I couldn't stop. And I was so attached to my success. And as much as I never really want to like live the slowest life, and I certainly don't ever want to be someone who isn't ambitious and isn't successful, and I don't want to demonize that story or make it a bad thing. It was like I'd got to the point where I couldn't even take like a Saturday off. I realized I'd actually had 2.5 years where I hadn't even taken a single day off. And when I did take that first week off, when I acknowledged how bad my burnout actually might be, I remember literally probably every 3.5 minutes, I think it was, I was reaching for my phone. And I was like, the whole time I'd felt like, I just don't have any time. I'm just so busy. I just have so much to do. And I'd really, really come to face with the facts that actually it wasn't a logistical problem as to why I was so on. It was all internal. It was in me, because the moment I'd given myself that week of like, okay, don't do anything for a week, I literally couldn't stop. So I'd love to know where you guys sit on some of that story so far. Like, can any of you relate with any of that? Do any of you feel like you've come quite far out the other end of that? Do any of you feel like you're in any elements of that at the moment? Because it's actually just quite valuable for me to know where everyone is. Zara says, totally saw that in network marketing. Yes, so eye-opening. Where do you guys feel like with that? Oh, thank you. Yeah, wild fucking story. Appreciate you guys. So in that like year that I took off, right, I met God basically and went down more rabbit holes than anyone's ever been in their entire life and had a lot of fucking time, found a lot of peace. I was like, right, before I go and do anything again, okay, I'd close my membership, everything, right? I'd stop business coaching. I was like, I am going to get down to the bottom for good as to why I'm still not quite earning the money that I want. Why? Why am I willing to be the hardest fucking working person in the room? I don't have 2 heads. There's nothing wrong with me. People don't dislike me. Like, there's nothing obvious that I can see. Yet, I see people online making money that I'm like, how? How? Can anyone relate with that? And that was the piece that just fucked me off. And the worst part, which we're just going to call on this, is I would see people doing 10 times better than me that were not better than me. Okay. Like, even in my arena, I could see people and I was like, you know? And I was like, kudos to them, fair play to them. So that's a little bit of the part that we're going to at least give you guys the opportunity to maybe see for yourself. But that's when I really deep dived and I was like, oh, fucking hell, this isn't about mindset and strategy. It's so much deeper than that. And I needed to come face to face with some silence in myself and get really honest. Like, what is inside of me in here that's like the block? Because I couldn't see it. And so that leads me to the point that I want to make the most at the beginning of this is that probably less so for you guys, but I can't tell you how much of my ego I had to swallow at this time because I had done a shitload of mindset work. I had been teaching stuff about limiting beliefs for a very long time. I had done all of this work, and it really took some humble pie for me to be like, I have to really go again. And I have a lot of clients that come and work with me now, and they are like NLP trained, they're educators, they train in mindset stuff. And I mean, they have absolutely no ego, whereas I had quite a lot. But I want to say to every single person on this call, even if a lot of the stuff that I've said and I'm gonna say, you're like, could teach this shit in my sleep, I really want you to listen to this as if you are like a beginner. Because I think the best thing that I ever came to terms with was if I was it, I would have it. The end. And then it's like, since that point, I just always approach it like that now. I'm like, even if I'm to journal on the same stuff that I might give you, I'm really in that humble position of like, if I was it, I would have it. Like, if I had actually done the work on my belief system and on my thoughts and on myself, then I would be in the position that I want to be in. So I want to really invite you to look at this with like a completely open mindset. Just going to read some of it. Thank you for sharing. I'm definitely in a place where I don't want to work from tension and pressure. Yes, exactly that. I like to work hard. I want it to be joyful. You are, in the chat moves when you're reading, you are describing my world right now. Okay, cool. This is good. You made me eat a hell of a lot of humble pie. I'd done so much mindset stuff. Anais is one of my clients. I have a whole BA in business and a MA in marketing with 10 years of experience. I absolutely love you. And you've come so far, and I'm absolutely dead over it. Struggle to see my blocks. Don't you worry, my babes. You're going to see your blocks today. Okay, proud of you guys. I'm really grateful for that. So, where are we going to go from here? So, this is a judgment-free space, okay? And nothing that I am going to say, I am insinuating that you guys are like broken or worse than me or like fucked up or super shit. Like nothing I'm going to say in this is going to insinuate that. And I really want to make it clear as well that every single thing I'm asking you, I will happily ask myself every time as well. All right, that's the first thing. So, the bottlenecks that I see with businesses when they come and work with me is usually the following. There's going to be people on this call that deviate from this and are slightly different or maybe a little bit more advanced, have done some of the work, at which point we make the plan a bit more bespoke. But usually people come in, they're working really hard. You might want to do some ticks here. Their clients get great results with their work. They're like, I can change people's lives with whatever I do. My service is great. There's not a problem there. Like, I know I'm good at what I do. They have a good work ethic. They know how to use social media. They're in a pretty good place, and they've got a pretty solid understanding of business, usually a very solid understanding of business. Like, they've done some courses, they've probably had a mentor, you know how to sell, like you can do all of the things. And so the absolute bottleneck that I see every single time is the business owner. So I would love, even if you're not 100% sure right now that you are, I would love you to just play with curiosity from this moment onwards that potentially it's that like, I'm the problem, it's me, okay? Because they often don't know they are. And even clients, when I'm like, I had a client, I have a really long-standing client, she's not on this call actually. And I did market research with her like 1 month into working with her because I was like, this girl's like a perfect client for me. I need like market research on her. And I remember saying to her, even a month in, when like before you worked with me, what did you think your problem was? And she was like, marketing, 100% content and marketing. And 1 month in, still, I was like, when had it occurred to you that it was you? And she was like, I still don't think it actually has. And we still laugh about that now because she now knows that it was. Okay. So, honesty in the chat. If I had to say to you, what is the bottleneck? What is the sort of hurdle next challenge to you getting to your next level? Be so honest with me, zero judgment. What do you think it is? Everyone put in the chat. Do you think it's content? Do you think it's marketing? Do you think it's visibility? Do you think it's sales? Do you think it's lack of experience? Me showing up and keeping promises to myself. I'm too short and often underprice myself. Lissy, I definitely know it's me. I love it. We're just not gonna fuck about. Cool. Oh, too soft. I was like, too short. I can't work with that one. Lack of experience and procrastination. Okay, cool. We've got a lot of self-awareness. This is cool. Now, nothing I'm even going to say is insinuating that there can't be and aren't strategic tweaks that need to happen. So, the first thing I think, just to clean this up, is there's three core strategic tweaks that I make with everyone that comes to work with me that you also definitely want to look at, and you can write these down, okay? Number one is your positioning. Every time. I have a client on this call who teaches positioning, and we have still repositioned her as well. Okay. Again, no shade. I had a client reposition me at the beginning of the year. I was like, humbled. Humbled. Okay. But number one is their positioning. So, what I mean by that is every client that I see, immediately I can see gaps in who they're positioned to. They're still not clear on that one dream client, and that one dream client is still too much for a beginner. So everyone in this call wants to scale or build. Yeah, you want more clients, more money, less time. So the first place you want to look is that. The reason that that's the most important one is because the thing that you really want to do right now is get a better content plan and better marketing and better sales and scale your offer. So maybe you're looking to take your one-to-one or your low ticket stuff into higher ticket, yeah, which is a really important thing that we do look at doing in the right way for you. However, the error that I see is that people want to rush to do that part. The doing is the masculine, right? And when we are strong-headed women, we are naturally in our masculine. So you've got to be so careful. Ask yourself every time, you can write this question down, like, am I approaching this problem by first focusing on what I'm going to do? Because the worst thing that you could do is go, I'm ready to scale my business. I'm going to make the offer. I'm going to make a group program or a scalable program, whatever, a higher ticket program. If you've not first been 1000% sure on your positioning, or you're going to make the wrong program for the wrong person, talking about the wrong shit, priced at the wrong price point. Is everyone feeling good on that? Okay, so that's the most important thing, is it's like a domino thing. It has to be the positioning first, because it makes everything easier. Because in that middle category of like doing, we've got your marketing, we've got your sales, that might be a sales call, might be a masterclass, might be selling in the DMs. Again, you're fucked if you're not positioned towards the right person. You're not going to do the right masterclass, you're going to bring in the wrong people. You're not going to do the right podcast episodes on your podcast if you've got one. You're not going to be making the right YouTube videos. You're not going to be doing the right group classes. You're not going to be saying yes to the right opportunities in front of the right rooms. Everything is going to be off. So that's your first point. That's your second point. And your third point, really simply, is having a daily method of operation. So a structure. Every day. If you have those three categories cleaned up for a business, you are good to go, because that covers all your bases. It covers your visibility, it covers making sure that you don't, like what we're really looking for is like consistency in these high cash months, right? Can't be high cash if you're low ticket. That's going to be impossible, because you don't want to sell, you don't want your service to be what, 100 quid or something. You're going to have to sell a fuck ton of 100 quid to be making proper money, okay? So we need to be high ticket, but in order to be high ticket, you have to be positioned to the right person. And then in order for all of that to work consistently, you need to be doing the right stuff every day, every week, every month, but in a way that feels good to you. Okay, because we're all about it feeling aligned to you. So therefore, you'd know every day I do a 3-way split with my clients, which makes sure their marketing is ticked, therefore their visibility is good, their sales is ticked, meaning they've always got new sales in the pipeline. So they're not going, oh, I've had a great month, and then the next month going, fucking hell, it's drier than the Sahara. Equally, they're not going, oh, I've had a great month, but I'm absolutely exhausted, because their offer isn't scalable. Does any of that not make sense to anyone? Appreciate that I've got no slides because I'm rogue. Just going to read some of these. Warrior I want to grow holds me back. Cool. So now we've cleaned up all of the strategic stuff that I do with people and you get instant access to when you work with me, and that really have to happen. I'm going to talk about self. So it's like, you know that cute infinity sign? Yeah. I want you to see like one as self and one as strategy. Neither is ever going to work without the other. We know this in theory, but I would love tonight for us to locate those gaps on where this is happening. So let me give you an example. Say on the strategy side, we've got your reels on Instagram, okay? That's only going to work to its highest ability if you are at your most powerful energy. So you know when you land like the best client, I call it like post-sale energy. You know when you have that feeling and you're like, fuck yeah. And you love her and you wanted her to come work with you and it's so exciting and they've paid and yada yada. Okay. In that kind of energy, that kind of feel, and when like imagine that same day, it's like you get a great client result and you do something that makes you feel really good about yourself, you send a great email or you got like high podcast downloads or something, okay? That energy, if we bottled it up, is the energy that ultimately we want your content to be coming from. Not high vibe, which is where we're binning off this like mindset shit, okay? Which is so toxic. Not fake high vibe. It's not about being high. You don't need to be high, just strong, powerful, authentic, which can look different each day. That might look emotional, that might look vulnerable, that might be authentic, that might be a bit tongue in cheek, might be very strong, but either way, it's coming from your cleanest self. Also, the regulation piece. So if we're looking at this on the strategy side, your Instagram reels, example, we need you to be at your most regulated. Because if I drop the kids off at school and something happens, I don't really have this kind of thing anymore, but like when they were tiny, you have that horrible drop off and they're crying, and then you're like, fuck, I forgot the bag thing, and then you've not got petrol, right? Say you have one of those mornings, okay? And then you've got a fucking Instagram reel that you need to make that day, yeah? How is that Instagram reel gonna go? Not very well. So the power and regulation piece is your absolute priority, more so than the strategy, if anything. Both are important. I do not believe in one or the other. I refuse to teach one or the other. I don't believe that the self is the most important thing and it will just get you there. I don't think that. I think you need the strategic pieces that we've discussed. I think they need to be better. But the two of them have to work together. And the reason that these are arguably more important is because say worse comes to worse on one of those days, you just click live on Instagram and you just say something amazing for 5 minutes and you get a client off the back of it, okay? If you're in the best energy, the most powerful and the most regulated, every single thing that you do from that point will work. So the most important time, most important piece, especially as women, that we are so, that is so important to us is time. So does everyone see how time, which is sometimes our biggest excuse, but often our biggest reason, like it's real, we're carrying a big load. Do you see how if you on a more consistent basis are even more powerful than you are at the moment and even more regulated than you are at the moment, everything in your business is going to be shorter, quicker, easier, and more potent. Everyone feeling that? I'm loving this. Okay, great. So I'm going to get you guys into a couple of questions to start to find a little bit of awareness about this. Oh, wait, one sec. I've got anything in here. Does anyone have any questions, by the way? Right. Oh, bear with me one sec. Like that. Level of preparation is amazing. Okay. First thing I want you to do, and feel free to shut your eyes and get into your body a little bit if you need to. Most of you will be pretty used to getting into your body. But if you're not, drop in and put your hand on your body. That can really help. I want you to just ask yourself, on a dominant amount of time, so over potentially the last week, if we had to rate how powerful you have been feeling as an average in your power Like, I'm the shit. I'm really good at what I do. My success is inevitable. Someone is absolutely going to buy today. I am that bitch. How would you rate it out of 10? Don't overthink it. Just rate it. And you can write that on your paper and then kind of get back into your body. That same sort of dominant amount of time, potentially the last week. How emotionally regulated, and emotional regulation is not as like screamy as you might think. For some people, it is when they're slightly earlier in this part of the work. It is like, I don't even fucking know what I'm thinking every day. I'm that disconnected from myself. I'm snapping at my kids all the time or my partner. I'm reactive at home. I can't easily access like sex. My libido's down. I don't feel like chilled and at ease. It's quite subtle for some of us. It's a bit more like a low level, mm, just like an always on, like a low level always on. So, over the last week, how regulated on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say that you've been? Just on a dominant average. And then the last one I just want to ask you, because I think this is so important, where what real clean work-life balance is such a priority for me, to seeing you guys, is when you're off, when you're not actively working, how regulated do you feel lately on a dominant basis out of 10 that you've been? Like in that, like really like flowy, like, oh, oh yeah. And because I feel like you guys have got quite into that, just want you to ask yourself again, don't judge, just see what comes up. You're not a bad, terrible person if something like quite gnarly is in there. It's cool. Just let it be. But I just want you to ask yourself what beliefs you have around all of that. Trust your gut with the one that first comes up. The things that I learned that I had to dismantle over that year that I told you guys about was definitely like these deep-rooted beliefs that I had, that I really believed that my success genuinely needed and was going to require me to just be stressed and to just be on. I don't think I'd ever seen a role model who had created the 180 that I've created now, where that work-life balance is so genuine in themselves as well as on the outside. And I fell into that trap of like, especially whereas in network marketing, so an important part of that is like displaying freedom, health, freedom. I'd fallen into that trap of like really representing that freedom when I didn't have it. You know, like I was constantly on my phone when I was with the kids. I was answering messages. I'd be driving to school thinking, fucking hell, I've not done nothing. And I'm never going to pretend to you guys that my life is just like this like weird, perfect, like boxed in thing now. Like, do I occasionally still reply to a message when I'm with the kids? Yes. But I did not have freedom. But when I really went in on that year, and I should do like a whole podcast on all the shit I found I could just give to you. But like, I really was like, I just don't believe it's possible. That's why I didn't. And that was following me everywhere because, like I said to you guys, you have to be so careful to ask yourself, like, am I just focusing on what I can do? So I would try to solve my lack of time freedom with another strategy. I'd be like, oh, it's because my marketing needs to be better. Oh, it's because I need to learn to build a course. Oh, it's because this. I was trying to fix it still with the masculine piece, when actually on the inside, I still didn't have the ability to be off when I was off. And because I hadn't reformed that belief that, like, I really believe it's going to be possible for me to build a £1 million brand with actual work-life balance, in the diary work-life balance, and in my mind and body and soul work-life balance. It had to start with that belief. And I feel like if you take anything from tonight, that's the part that I want to disrupt of yours the most. Because until, well, when you create that, and whatever that looks like to you, that can be different to you. But when you just make that decision, that's when everything will change. And to give you the most tangible example of this, I actually bought a course during that weird time of my life. I spent 5 grand on it, and it was like how to build a course, right? And I still didn't build a course. I still could not get over the line until I really got down again to these core beliefs. And it was the beliefs that got me over the line with everything. Do you feel that way? It sounds my brain. Yes. Okay, great. Jeannie, what's your new belief going to be? I would love you guys to share them so that we can just kind of like put them out there as well. How would you love to believe that your success can be or feel? Like, what belief do you want to be carrying forwards in your success? Because that's going to be your experience. So you've got to choose it so wisely. Because, for example, I probably could have had exactly the same business model that I previously did. Would I have still had gaps? Yes, because like I said to you, it wasn't high paid enough, it wasn't scalable enough, and of course my marketing did need to be better. But I still could have had emotional, I just actually drew on my head, emotional work-life balance during that time. Because I could have, in theory, just put my phone down. I could have locked my phone in my car for 2 hours when the kids came home from school. But I couldn't, because I still did not see myself deep down as that person. I still felt deep down that if I did that, everything would fail. If I didn't check Instagram constantly, I would fail. If I didn't have my notifications on, I would fail. If I didn't reply to a client quickly, I would fail. If I didn't check in constantly, I would fail. If I didn't reply to a sale immediately, I would fail. Everything that I'd worked so fucking hard for would somehow fall to pieces. So that's the piece that has to change for you guys to have any kind of difference, even if it wasn't as gnarly as mine was. New belief: I have the joy now and I dictate my joy, not bank account abundant without it. Fuck yes. Sam, hi, didn't know you were on this. Good evening. Well done. Good job. So this leads me on to my next point, which probably everyone on this call knows, but you might not. Sorry that I've not got the emotional frequency scale up, but I want you to imagine the emotional frequency scale. Has anyone not seen the emotional frequency scale? If not, Google it, but it's the best fucking thing to have ever. So the questions that I've asked you before, where I'm like, how powerful are you feeling on a regular basis? And how regulated are you feeling on a regular basis? That shows you where you're kind of sat on the emotional frequency scale. So we give off a vibration. That is just science. It is not woo, although most people on this are probably quite woo friendly. You give off a frequency constantly, whether you like it or not. And so that is not determined by your mindset. Your mindset is like the top layer. That's determined by what's really going on underneath. You can't fake it. You can't slap an affirmation over it. You can't slap a positive sentence over it. You can't slap anything over it. You're just either at that point on the scale or you're not. So I want to remind you on this call that your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings are going to determine your actions. So to help you guys find your gaps, and I am going to give you a formula in this masterclass, I want you to really look at, where are my next gaps in myself? I'm going to help you on this for anyone that feels a bit stuck on it, but where are my next gaps? If your thoughts create your feelings and your feelings create your actions, thoughts and beliefs. So if in that period of my life I had success, I made money, I was the one with the most amount of awards in the fucking company, I had a huge team, I was coaching people outside in business, build their own six-figure personal brands, but on the inside, I felt a bit off. I felt a bit anxious, felt a little bit dysregulated. I felt a bit up and I felt a bit down. And that was very unsettling. So if I was feeling a little bit up and a little bit down, what kind of gaps do you think I would have had during that time of my life in my actions? Either, and this is what I call micro inconsistencies, either not showing up online. So the most important part of your business is sales, the end, okay? If you've not got sales, you've not got business. So either potential inconsistency in showing up, or because I was a determined motherfucker, I might have still shown up and then been like, I'm doing all the things. But as we discovered at the beginning of the call, what was coming out when I was showing up might be not as consistently powerful. So I could show up for a sales call either in the best energy or in that good energy and faked energy, but on the inside, a little bit prangy, a little bit anxious, a little bit doubtful of myself, a little bit, am I going to close her? Does she think I'm too much? So where are your micro inconsistencies? Even if it isn't in what you're doing, it's in the quality of what you're doing. Or the power, or the effectiveness, or the potency. I've been sat on my podcast for 5 years. Why? Why? I'd have told you it's because I didn't know where to start and I didn't have time and it wasn't any of that stuff. It's because my thoughts were creating my feelings. And I wasn't ready to be seen. And that's how I felt. You're not going to escape that feeling. And if you are, if I'd created the podcast from that place, I'd have been pushing through. So I would have been in a pressure-led business still. Is that really landing? So at the beginning of the call, when I said a lot of us tend to be in that boat where we'll show up and do the thing anyway, but we do it from that fucking hideous feeling of like, yeah. The only way to get rid of that feeling is go back and start at that root, which is the thoughts and the beliefs. I am safe to be seen. What I say has value to it. I'm good enough at what I do now. I have enough experience already. Just like to highlight, when I started my podcast, I didn't even have an Instagram page. So for anyone that doesn't think they're experienced enough, okay, it's making things feel harder than needed. I think my gaps and my work is around worth. Yeah, falling into tight energy. And who can see something in their day to day, maybe even today, where an action has ended up not happening or not happening to the degree that you would have absolutely fucking loved. Example, like I gave in the beginning, of how close I could have been to not doing this masterclass. And now I'm going to be able to explain this process better to you. Old me would probably still have done the masterclass. Like I said, I have a relentlessness in me that probably you girls do as well. Like, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. However, I would have done it from a place of I would have stressed out about it all day. It would have haunted me. It would have rattled me. I actually had such a nice day with my little boy today when he was off ill because he was like in a really good mood. It would have spoilt my day with Ruben. It would have emotionally taken me away from my child. I would have been representing freedom. Oh, I get to be with my boy. My work is so flexible. And my head all day would have been like, this fucking masterclass. What am I going to say? I don't want to do this. What if no one shows up? It's going to be shit. I'm not good enough. I should cancel it. And so even if I had done the thing, I'd have been coming from this hideous energy inside. I'd have been anxious. I'd have had a knot in my stomach. I'd have been pushing through. And then I'd have slapped a bit of mindset on it. Okay? So what do we do instead? Instead, what we do is we teach you guys how to have an even higher level of awareness of your thoughts and feelings. Because, like I said at the beginning, a lot of you girls will already know this. Some of you will already teach this stuff. But with so much love, you need to go back and do it again. It's still not tight. And the thing that pisses the most people off that I work with is like, I kind of am so annoyed because I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. And like they always say, whenever we say anywhere in life, I know what to do, but I'm still not doing it, what we're really saying is I actually don't have a formula to apply here. I actually don't. So someone was like, I know I'm not in the shape that I want to be in with my body and I know what to do, I'm still not doing it. What they're actually saying is I actually don't have a formula to know how to apply this. And so some of you girls are going to have to really grit down on that bit. So what we do instead is we get a much higher level of awareness. I'm going to teach you through this properly in a sec, okay? And have a much better understanding of your thoughts in general. Just be even more detached from them. Be even more aware of just these unconscious thoughts that we have all day, every day. What do we have, like 90,000 or some shit, okay? Have a better awareness of what's going on. Because then when the thoughts that are causing the problems come in, we can do something with them. If we're not aware of them, we can't change them. And then we're going to have a real problem. And then the most important part, the second most important part, is we're going to rewire those thoughts. I'm going to talk you through this, okay? And then to seal the deal, we are going to master unavailability. Unavailable for any other outcome, any other reality, any other way of being, any other way of thinking, any other way of feeling. Okay. So back to today, the perfect example, the day's gone Pete Tong, yada yada, masterclass thing on, I'm like, wakada. Okay. I'm a human. Like, am I a perfect robot? No. Okay. So what I call Nigel, everyone has a Nigel, okay? A lot of you will even know me saying this. Listen to my podcast. Nigel is that guy that's like, you're shit. You should change your outfit. I don't like your voice on that podcast. So, okay, everyone knows Nigel, yeah? You can name yours something different if you want to, right? So does Nigel still try and hang out with me at times? Obviously, okay? So this is how this goes when you do this work. You wake up this morning and you're like, fuck my life. What is even going on? I was up all night with a 5-year-old. Why is he 4 billion degrees? I need to take the car to the mechanic. I need to get an Uber. I have a nanny now. It's my nanny's day off. I haven't got any help. The house is a bomb site. I haven't sorted dinner. Okay. Nigel chimes in. He's like, I fucking love this moment. And he's like, you're going to do so badly tonight. Oh my God. Like, do you know how badly you're going to do? And you're so unprepared. And how are you even going to pull this off? And you should probably cancel it. Okay. So all of this still happens. However, because I have rewired, step 2, rewire, literally my brain, and I do actually have some clients on here, so I will let them back me up on this or tell their experience. My brain will back me up for me. I literally don't even have to go, shut up, Nigel. My brain will, I will hear it. It's like I have two voices in my head, okay? Where my brain, on its own accord, will go, shut the fuck up. I'm gonna fucking smash tonight. This is so important. A couple of people are gonna come, and I'm gonna make a big bit of impact, okay? That's it. You're gonna do well. You don't need long to plan. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm enjoying being with Rubes. It's all good, okay? Your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings determine your action. And so, because my brain is in the pattern of doing this now, and I pray to God, yours will be too one day, I feel good. How do you feel when Nigel says to you, do you know how much you're going to humiliate yourself on that masterclass later? You feel like shit. How do you feel when Nigel says to you, no one is going to listen to your podcast? And if they do, they're probably going to laugh at you. You feel like shit. How do you feel when your brain literally on an automatic rotor and your belief system deep down believes you're going to fucking smash tonight? You feel so fucking good. You do. You're like, yes, I am. Yes, you feel so good. How do you feel when your automatic thoughts and beliefs go, my podcast is like fucking life-changing? You feel so good. And then your actions feel so much more easeful. They're quicker. You spend 15 minutes prepping for the masterclass. Thanks, Alexa. Not 3 hours. You actually spend time with the kids because you're not thinking, I need to think about the masterclass all day. Otherwise, I'm going to be unprepared. You're like, fuck it, it's fine. I was playing fucking swing ball at 6 p.m. outside. Yeah, I was like, it's cool. It's fine. It's going to be fine. So, number one, we're going to go through the 3-step process. You're going to want to make some notes. Remember Nigel. You need to know Nigel, okay? Nigel's the most important thing to know about. First of all is your awareness. And that's where you're going to start. I'm going to tell you how. I've never given this much for free before, by the way. 2026 is a new game. The first prompt that I give all my paying clients in module 1 of my program is the following. Couldn't be more simple. It is, I feel, and then you have to answer that bit. That's like the blank, enter blank. I need. I feel, enter blank. I need, enter blank. If you devote to that prompt every day for the rest of your life, your entire life will change. If you just did that, I promise you, it's going to feel weird. For some of you, it's going to be really weird. For some of you, you're going to hate it. And the ones that hate it the most, you're the guys that need it the most. You're the ones whose results I see the biggest results. So celebrate that and lean in. So the reason this is so important is what we have to do to create an even higher level of awareness is disrupt what's going on, right? Like fuck shit up a little bit in there. And so the I feel I need, you can have it on an alarm on your phone, repeated, you can have it stuck up, you can do it however you want, hold yourself accountable to asking. It's going to start to disrupt you in the moment. Because every time you start falling asleep again, back into the unconscious thoughts without realizing, la, 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 and it's 1 p.m. and you've had your lunch and you've forgotten about your self-development and it's not a priority in that moment. And then you're back unconsciously in this little circle of self-doubt and bullshit. And you're back in like, oh, I hate content. I'm just no good at this. No one wants to watch what I've got to say. Oh, that client that's going to buy, she's not going to be able to afford it. How am I going to do? Oh my God, my bank balance. Fucking hell. This is so stressful. Should I cancel my gym membership? Should we all just go and live on beans on toast? We're all going to die, okay? You will go back into the unconscious, into all the stuff that you do not want to be a magnet for, I assure you. And you won't even know or realize you're thinking it. And that's the danger. That's the problem, is you won't have a clue. So that is your first step, okay? Is to create a lot more awareness in the times where you're not triggered. Because if you can create more awareness and more control over those times and more intention, whoop, and replacing it. Instead, catching it, first of all, stopping Nigel. No, thank you, Nigel. That's unhelpful. No one invited that into the party. That is not what I want to be an energetic match for. That is not what I want to be true. So you need to stop putting energy into it and bringing it towards me and affecting my whole life from that point. If you can do it in the untriggerable moments, when you're really triggered, again, just to harp on about this example, like today, you will be able to catch it, because the biggest problem is that you guys will still be believing this stuff is true. Like, how much could I have said that it was a truth? Not that it's about like pushing through and doing shit. Like, sometimes you have to cancel stuff. Sometimes we need to say no. But I didn't need to say no tonight. Okay? No one wants to do a live masterclass. It's going to be scary every time. Like, no one ever wants to do that. Okay? Like, you want to do it, but you don't ever want to do it. You'll always find an out. And so the problem at the moment that you guys will be having is that you're still believing it. You are. You're like, I couldn't do it though, because Ruben was ill. You will still be believing it somewhere, I promise you. You'll be like, oh, but I couldn't do this, or I had to do it this way, or I had to put it off, or I had to delay the investment, or I couldn't show up to the thing, or like I had to say yes. Like, you will still be believing it. You'll still be believing your own shit, I promise you. So you have to disrupt it in the moments where you're not triggered, so that when you are triggered and I'm like, this is it, this is the moment, wakey wakey, and you're like, no, I didn't think this was the moment. I just thought this was really real. I just thought that I actually couldn't afford to do that thing, or I actually just wasn't more experienced enough to be able to go high ticket, or that my clients actually just wouldn't buy into something in group. You have to be like, oh my God, I'm believing my shit. I'm believing my shit. And so that's your problem, is it's not the thought, it's that you're believing the thought. So we need to start when you're not triggered. The second step is rewire. So that's your second step. And this is the 3-step process that you're going to see yourself through. Rewire. So especially the like repeated ones that you're like, oh my God, this is like the same record playing. Yeah. Easiest question. What would I love to think? What would I love to believe? What would I love to believe? What would I love to be true? What would I love to be thinking in this moment? How would I love my afternoon to go? How would I love this class to go? What would I love the girls on this call to say afterwards? Who would I love to impact? How would I love her to feel about that? For those of you who love law, this is really where you are going to put the law of assumption to practice. The law of assumption is arguably even more powerful than the law of attraction. I mean, they're all equal, because law is law. But the law of assumption, what am I assuming? Like, if you're getting on a sales conversation or a sales call, are you low level actually assuming that they're not going to buy? Because that's the fucking problem. That's a big problem. Someone can give you the best sales script in the whole world, okay? But that shit, again, that's just the strategy side. It's not that important. It is important, and I love sales training, and I think it's great, and we can absolutely make you better at sales, 100%. But if you're getting on that call assuming that she's not going to buy, it's going to affect what you're saying. It's going to affect what you offer her. It's going to affect how you navigate the conversation. It's going to affect how she trusts you. It's going to affect your energy. And so at this part is where, say we had said thought that we don't want, I will never pull off consistent 15 grand months, example. Oh, thank you, Nigel, for your input. Unhelpful, but appreciate it all the same. New thought comes in. You rewire the new thought. What would I love to believe? 15K months are fucking easy. This crazy bitch on this Zoom call does them for breakfast. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. There we go. Reprogram that thought. Okay? And now you are going to choose that thought, and it leads us perfectly into the third section, unavailability. You are not going to be available for any other thought. And every time another thought comes in, you're going to do it again. And sometimes you're going to do it again 400 times. And that pattern isn't really the hard work, right? The hard work is in the repetition and holding yourself to that standard and calling yourself out, calling your shit out. If Liz was in my head right now, what would she see? Would she be like, there? Has anyone had this process blow a gap in where they're playing small? If we now look at this process and we think about your boldest, most powerful self, can anyone see how actually, if you were doing all the shit that you see all over Instagram now, if you were moving as her, and I don't doubt that you are, I am not, I am honestly, like I said at the beginning, I'm not putting anyone down. I don't want anyone to feel shit about themselves. And I'm certainly not here to say that, like, you guys aren't smashing it. You guys are smashing it. You guys are showing up. You guys have great businesses. You guys are amazing women. You've got a big story. If you were really, 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 really showing up as her, her 2.0, the boldest version of you, just because you decided, can you now see from this pattern of these core thoughts and beliefs, the strategic moves that you would actually just be making? If you were like only available for the thought process that your success was just inevitable, what risks would you be taking? What gaps would you be filling in your strategy? What work would you be doing on yourself? How would things be different? I want you to list 3 things. If none of that noise was available to you, it wasn't just fucking hovering over you, just there, like a fucking helicopter, and you genuinely felt a 10 very often on the power and regulation scale, and you trusted that 10xing was just like yours. You trusted it. You trusted it without your mind going, but not now, but not this year, but not you, but not with the kids. 3 things I would love someone to share. I'm just impressed everyone's still awake at 9 o'clock. Meadow, this makes me so happy. I'm loving these comments. I'm just reading them. So knowing your 1 to 3 things, whatever you guys have just hoiked out, I really want you to make that like powerful decision for yourself. And like I say, I will ask myself these questions as well. This is not like a you problem. You're just a human, okay? And this process is newer. Why not? Why not now? Whatever it is, why not now? If you could trust yourself, that you could hold yourself in that unstoppable feeling, why not now? And now I want you to almost imagine like if you've ever encouraged a child into school or into a party where they feel a bit unsure and you're like, no, you have got this. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Look, they're all playing on the bouncy castle and there's cake. Like, seriously, and you know the moment they're in that party, they're gonna have the best time. And you're like, come on, just go. Because you know the moment they're in there, they'll be fine. They're at a point of choice. They're either going to spend the whole party clinging to your leg and you'd be like, oh, I just wish they'd done the thing. Or they're going to run in and go and play and they're going to come back and they're going to be like sweaty, cake around their face, like, oh, mommy, I'm having the best time. Then they're going to have a tantrum about leaving and you're going to be like, okay, I really want you guys to just make the commitment to yourself, looking at your paper, which one you're going to choose. This is not rhetorical or like a trick question. It is just a choice. Feel the fear, do it anyway, is something that I teach the kids every single day. But feel the fear and learn how to regulate that feeling so that you don't need to live in fear and pressure and imbalance. Every single molecule of your life is a choice. Every single bit. It is not luck of the draw. Your success is not just like an if. Everything is a choice. Your experience is a choice. Your feelings in your body that you are experiencing every day. You don't feel those because you're not happy with your bank balance. You don't feel those because you haven't been doing your job long enough. You feel those because you are choosing them, and it's so confronting when we really come face to face with that. You don't feel iffy because the economy is weird and buyers aren't buying. None of that's true. None of that is true. It is all bullshit. You don't feel rushed because you've not got much time. It is genuinely all bullshit. Every single thing that we think and feel and create is a choice. And the pace and sort of reality and current situation of our business predominantly is a choice. There are certain things that obviously it's one step at a time. But the biggest thing that I really am a fan of is encouraging the quantum leap. Because otherwise, what you guys will end up doing is just pulling the plaster off hair by hair, creeping up, diagnosing your problems in the wrong way in your business, spending another 2 grand on a content course that you don't fucking need, and being like, it's content. It's content. It's definitely my content. No, it's not. It's that you just need to be excited and fucking trust yourself to use your voice and feel regulated all through your life. So we're gonna go very soon. First of all, how do you guys feel? And that's not to blow smoke up my ass, just actually want to know how you feel. Yes, just reading your comment, Abby. So I suppose I need to dig deeper into why I choose the things that don't serve me. One of the things that I say a lot, actually, inside my containers is sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. Sometimes the curiosity is good, but I'm very proactive. Like sometimes it's like, maybe go for a walk, like an unplugged walk or a little journal. And there's a really nice shadow work prompt that's, I always forget the slight wording, but it's just basically like, you have to replace why am I with I actively choose this because what it gains me is something like that. But you need to find the secondary gain. But other than that, like we don't need to dig. We just need to make another choice. Job done. Off she goes. That's it. And we'll quantum leap with that in itself. Feels fucking great and powered. I fucking need a little dose of you tonight. Amazing. Loved it. Feels like that. Lots of thought. Amazing. So everyone close your eyes because I really want to make sure that you feel really set up after this. I know that I have disrupted things a little bit as well. And I just want to tune you in to the feeling that is available for you because I want you to feel this feeling as much as is humanly possible because you fucking deserve it. Hand on your body, few slow breaths at your own pace. Don't rush it. Feel the chair or the bed supporting you. Let yourself relax. Let yourself feel held. I first of all just want you guys to just say thank you to yourself. You've shown up for yourself in a way that so many people just wouldn't and won't. I want you guys to really embody the understanding that done is better than perfect. You taking even 1% from today is brilliant. You don't need to like master every single tiny part of this. You don't need to be perfect at it. Just because you knew a lot of this doesn't mean that you have to be an expert in it or applying it. Just because you've learned a lot of this tonight doesn't mean that therefore you have to therefore change your life. Like, it's okay. Just done is better than perfect. Something is better than nothing. A small increase is better than nothing. Let yourself just be messy with it and human and take small progressions. You can take big leaps and make big choices and call yourself out on shit, but just let it be messy and let it be what it is. I really want you guys to tune into one I am statement that feels like something you can get on board with. So it doesn't feel too far, it doesn't give you disbelief. It might just be as much as you can big yourself up as. Like, I'm the fucking boss. Or I am really growing. Or I think I'm pretty special. Or I am really doing my best. And what I want you to first think about is one person that you've worked with. If anyone is like a serious beginner on this call, because I want you to have the same impact, at least just one person in the world that you feel like you've had a really brilliant impact on. But one person that you've worked with. And now I want you to think about their result. Either how happy they were with your service, how buzzed they were, what it did for them, how it made them feel. Tell me in your own head, what is the one bit about the change that you made or the impact that you had on that one person that you really just felt the absolute best about? What is it, if you were telling me? It just felt so good because I want to bring your mind to a situation in your life that happens sometimes that triggers you. Maybe like the kid morning thing that I described, maybe something with your partner or your parents, maybe something with clients being difficult, or a social media thing that makes you feel shit, like you spend 15 hours writing a carousel and then you hate it and then you delete it and then you just literally just want to throw your phone into the sea. Something that triggers you, dysregulates you. See yourself in that position. Where are you? Forgetting how long that has impacted you in the past. Like maybe like clouded you all day or all week or for like an hour. I actually want you to think and almost like rewrite that story like we're in a film and you see yourself in that scenario. How good you feel about yourself when we make the changes that we've discussed today and that triggering situation happens and you process it, but you rewire it and regulate at lightning speed compared to what would have been before, which will be relative depending on the situation. But I want you to see yourself in that scenario where you're like, Jesus Christ, I'm good now. Like I'm just like able to crack on with work and I actually feel good. Like I'm not just cracking on with work feeling shit and my head like ruminating and overthinking about this situation and like arguing in my own mind or like upset or dysregulated. I'm actually just like good. How powerful do you feel in that position? When you're just like, I am just in charge of this shit. It is not in charge of me. See the rest of your day, see how productive it goes. See yourself like landing a client that day, getting all your work done, completing a little project you've been working on, just being like, oh my God, I am that bitch. Look, like the thing happened. I knew what to actually do with those emotions, and my productivity is like unrecognizable, and I feel achieved. And now I am so smug because I am ending my day and I am actually putting my phone down, and I am that smug person like Liz on Instagram that's like, I'm unplugged now. And I actually feel it and I'm like, yes. How good and how powerful do you feel in that position, just being that light in the world, that representation, that role model, that version of yourself? There's always been that little question mark over of like, oh, can I do that? Can I be that person? I can't quite resist picking my phone up or like, you're just like, oh my God, this is how good it feels to be this regulated and boundaried. And if you can, I just want you to see the impact that has on your relationships, your personal life. Might just be your relationship with yourself, like the routine you then have for yourself that evening. You're like, wow, this is like nourishment on a new level because my head isn't arguing against it. Or the intimacy that you have with your partner off the back of it, the presence you have with your family. I want you to see and experience just what is available for you right now with those changes, with that strength in mind, with that ability to process, with that formula that you have. And the last thing that I want you to see is I just want you to see yourself coming off this call, doing everything I've just described. The phone goes on plane mode, and you're like, right, I am balanced from now on, and balance is me. You begin to rewire these thoughts and beliefs. You stay unavailable for it. You have that nourishing sleep. You wake up tomorrow and you feel fucking good. And when you switch your phone on, because you are in charge of those boundaries, and you switch it on at your work time, not rushed, not giving into Nigel's temptation. Just touch your phone quickly. Just touch your phone. Just quickly. Not that. You're like, I touch my phone when I am ready because my thoughts and beliefs do not rule me. You open your DMs on Instagram and someone has just hired you for 10 grand. And you're like, what? And they're like, I've been watching you for ages. I've been lurking. I'm sorry I've not reached out, but I've been binging all your free stuff. I have a big budget. I want to come in on this package or one-to-one, but this is what I want to spend in your services because I think you're amazing. I'm in. Will you have me? How do you feel in your body? And then you see two more messages and they're from your clients. And they're sharing those wins that when, you know, those wins, when you see those wins where you're like, oh my God, this is why I got out of bed this morning. Like, it feels so good. Like, what are they saying? Just short, sharp, simple. What are they saying? What's changed in their life? What's changed for them? And you have that really like wholesome experience where like you've made some money and that feels good. But also you've got that wholesomeness of connection to like purpose and why you do what you do. And you're like, oh, yes, I have both sides of it. That is everything that's available to you. You can pace yourself no matter how much you've got on your to-do list when you're in charge of your mind like this. I promise you, because your thoughts aren't the ones ruining the experience. You can have the biggest load, I promise you. I have 3 children on my own and 2 businesses. But you can physically in your body feel so differently around that load when your head is on your side, when your power is through the roof, when you know you are the shit because you already are the shit. The only person that needs to believe it is you. There's nothing else to wait for on that front. And when your mind and Nigel isn't going, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. Oh my God, I have so much to do. How am I going to manage this? This is relentless. That took so much longer than it. When your mind isn't doing that anymore, and your mind's just like, oh, it's fine. I'm doing great. I've got this. It's easy. You just know that your success is inevitable. You know that you're going to show up and someone is going to purchase from you. And the reality and the vision that you have is just the only thing that you're available for. Your whole experience gets to feel like that. I promise you. And so, with that feeling, I just want you to pop it in a bottle, a little glass bottle with a cork, and bottle it up. And remember that that's available to you at any point because not one thing has changed since you shut your eyes. Nothing on the outside has changed, just something on the inside. I want you guys to remember that you can come back to that space at any point. I want you guys to remember that when you function from that space, everything will work. I'm so proud of you guys for showing up. It is late. We are all going to get some sleep. I'm going to leave you with just the invitation that if you want to discuss how we work together for 72 hours after this masterclass, I will have an offer. I have 2 different programs, but they both will do the same thing, where we look at those structural pieces that we talked about: positioning, marketing, your offer, sales, and your daily method of operation to make sure the business is working. But you also pair it with the rewire process and more that we covered tonight to really lock in that absolute unshakable energy. So both of my programs do that. One of them is much lower in cost, super, super revenue appropriate. First session you hit the ground running with is make your investment back. And that's for anyone who's sort of under the $5,000 a month mark. Anyone who's at a higher point, you're probably a better fit for CEO, still super comfortable. I have 2 tiers in that. You can just pop into my DMs. If you DM me the word scale, we can have a chat. We can jump on a call or chat in the DMs and I can talk to you about those and what we would do for your business in there and see if you're a fit. And you can jump onto that offer. I love you. I'm so grateful you joined me tonight. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, girls.